Hello and welcome everybody back to our Pathologic 2 Let's Platinum, and in this video we are going to be starting day 4 and we're carrying on from where we last left off, which is from Anna's house. And I want our next destination to be up here in the Chine, because if I remember rightly, I think there's a trophy we can get for rescuing 2 babies from the Chine area. We're going to see if we can get that earlier. I know it does happen on day 4 to day 6, I think, is when we can get that trophy. So I'm going to go ahead and go for it now, see if we can actually go for it, but it might be a bit too early. Right, okay, so our immunity has gone right down and we are about to become infected by the plague. Not what I wanted at this point, but we'll just carry on looting this place. But yeah, there is a trophy tied to getting the plague, and you know you're going to become infected when you basically hear these words. It's basically the plague whispering to you, they say to you, so...
Why shun better than to fight? Abiding and watchful is wisdom. Let the outlandish life dwell within you, and you on earth answers. Is this not the task of a healer?
Yeah, there we go. Lapel du vide. So we are infected at this point. And as you can see there in the top left, we are affected by the plague. I mean, you can kill these people who are infected, the ones who are wrapped up in the rags, but you will find this type of stuff goes on a lot in all the plague districts. As you can see, we've got some quite good loot, but we're going to move on anyway. I think we're going to die any second, to be honest. And there we go, as soon as we left the house, we've passed out. So that's our first death of the game. Now I want to leave this in, just because I want the guide to be as transparent as possible. So it's our first death, nothing to really worry about. We'll try not to die any more times. Every time you do die, you will be taken to the theatre, where a little scene will play out with Mark Immortel and a few other characters in the game. But the first time you die, you're going to get grabbed by the kids, and you're going to end up outside the station. So they're going to give you some immunity tablets, and they're basically going to say, look, keep yourself alive and just be careful, which is what we're going to try and do in the future, but there we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to load up the game from before we were infected. When you become infected, life just becomes miserable. It's not good. Basically, it's just going to make things a lot harder for us. And also, as you can see, every time you do save your game, you get a brand new save slot. Each time you do save, you can just load up a certain time of day, so you can always go back to that day if you need to redo any trophies, or if you miss anything, or if you die, whatever. But anyway, on we go, and it's officially day 4, in which the theatre observes a full house. So in a second, we're going to get a bunch of new daily quests, as you can see there. And the first place I want to visit is the theatre. Now the theatre has turned into a hospital. We're going to want to visit the theatre every single day because we will have certain tasks to carry out inside the hospital. So we'll trade with this kid here. We're going to grab the items she's got. Moving on, we're going to get confronted by a messenger who's going to say to us that Governor Sabarov is calling for you and it's urgent. And you're basically just going to tell this guy whatever you want to tell him. It doesn't matter what options to choose. But he's basically going to say about they reckon they found our father's killer. So if you head to this little guy here, he's going to give us another marker on the map to check out. He's also got a few things to trade. And there we go, tag. That's the trophy we're after. And also, during the time between days 4 and day 6, you will hear that little piano tune in the background. Is what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and find the source of that piano song. And as you can see, we found the house here, and it's just in the moor. But it doesn't matter if we don't get it, because the houses that the music comes from are completely random. Every single playthrough that I've done, the houses have been different every single time. Whenever you hear that piano tune really prominent, you can enter the house. Now the house it's in will not be locked, so if it's asking you to pick a lock, it's not that house. The house door will be completely open. You won't have to pick any locks to get in. So if you head up the stairs, we're going to see Capella in one of the top rooms. She's going to be standing by the piano. And she's basically going to explain what this music is. And it's basically another little side quest we're going to be getting. So she basically is chasing the sound, and we're going to say, we'll find out where it's coming from. But throughout days 4 to 6, there are 3 or 4 houses I think we need to find this song in. It doesn't matter if we don't get it. We can always go back, load a save from day 4, and then go from there. And just make it our priority. But it may not be our priority at the second, as we do have a lot of other things to do. So onto the theatre now then, and we've arrived. And as soon as we enter the doors, you'll be able to see that the whole place has been transformed into like a field hospital. We're going to go and speak to the orderly down the bottom here first, but you'll also find Ruben and Lara. We'll go and speak to them in a second. And the orderly is basically going to explain to us that each day is going to bring new jobs. So I think for this first job we've got, we basically have to run around the 4 patients on the beds, people who are infected. We just have to give them morphine, but it goes a little bit more in depth. So there's going to be days when we need to give tinctures, and we're going to have to diagnose infected organs, and we're going to have to perform a bit of surgery. But all this is good because it's going to help us in creating our cure anyway. So I highly recommend that you do this every single day. So we just mentioned that there is some free medicine in one of the cupboards here. So let's go and check it out. So once we've spoken to the orderly, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to go and speak to Ruben first. And he's going to ask us if we have any suggestions on basically how to fight this infection and fight this plague. We'll just tell him whatever we want to tell him for now. It doesn't really matter what you say. None of these answers that you give him will have any detrimental effects. So if you are unsure, then just choose the options I choose on the screen. But I always like to drag the conversations out for a bit of story, a bit of insight, because this is quite a deep game. But anyway, we speak to Ruben again, and again, it doesn't matter what you say to him, you can tell him whatever you want to, and he's basically going to give us today's task. And it'll say give painkillers to 4 patients. So, before we do that, we're going to go and speak to Lara. And again, it doesn't matter what you say to Lara, we can tell her whatever you want to tell her. She's quite doubtful at the moment that we're going to be able to do anything. So if you go to these corpses, or well, not corpses, if you go to these patients that are on the beds, and all we basically need to do is just give a morphine to each patient we come across. So there's 1 down. And there's 2. Another 2 more to do. There's 1 up on the stage and 1 just on the right in the corner here. And there we go, that's job done. And that is literally all we have to do for today. We'll also get good reputation, that always helps. And this is basically what we're going to be doing day by day. Each day we'll have different things to do. So once we've done our job in the hospital, it'll say there the local authorities seem to have promised all doctors payments from a public fund. Now, as I was saying before, that is basically just a bunch of food and a bunch of awesome survival items. So if we head over to the town centre now and we'll go and check that out. There's a couple of people to speak to first, and first of all we're going to go and speak to the Bachelor. And now he's going to go on about a water delivery system. Basically he's going to want us to check the water isn't infecting people. This is what I was going on about in a previous video, where I was saying about the task for Lara, which is what she just asked us in the hospital to go and see her later. She's going to ask us to move some water up there for her, and if we do move the water, then it will infect Lara and where Lara lives. If we don't move the water, then Lara pretty much survives to live another day. So again, it's the opposite to what we did with the knocking thing. But moving on, and if we speak to this lady here, she's gonna ask us about the children. She's gonna ask us if we are with a child, and we're gonna say no, obviously. And then this is what I was on about at the beginning of this video. This is what I was looking for. She's going to basically say, if you can find any babies, then bring them to her. So, and we do get paid for it. So it's definitely worth doing. Also, there is a trophy tied to doing this as well. So we are going to have to be doing it if we want to get this platinum trophy. So that's definitely next on our list. And if you head to this guy here, this guy is like the sort of the manager of the public fund. So if we speak to him, just get a little bit more information out of what's going on, and he's going to say to us we pretty much get an advance. So every single day, depending on what type of work we've done at the hospital, this little cupboard here, which he's in charge of, will be full of goodies. And if you check out the cupboard here, you'll see that we get 2,000 coins and we get some food. And that's pretty much what it's going to be day by day, obviously dependent on how we get on in the hospital. But it's nice to know we've got another source of food. So now I want to head on over to the Haruspex layer. And you can see now that we do have a map marker to check out. And this is basically where we're going to start the little quest with Sticky to fix this alembic. And we can start brewing tinctures finally for this cure that we're going to try and make. Oh, nice! So as soon as we enter our layer, then we get greeted with this, one of the orderlies. And I don't think this guy is the orderly. Actually, I think he like represents the sand pest, and he's basically going to try and intimidate us, saying we can't beat him. We're not going to beat him, but we will beat him. I've got every faith that we'll be okay. But yeah, I think he represents like a physical representation of the sand pest. So what we're going to do is we are going to fill up our water, any empty water bottles we've got, there we go. And if we go over and speak to Sticky, he's going to tell us that he knows where he can get us a toolkit to fix this alembic. And if you just follow the options I choose on screen, we should have no problem in persuading Sticky to go and rob us a toolkit. So you can see here on the map that we've got another 2 markers, another 2 circles like points of interest, and the one there that's by the cathedral. That's where we need to head to soon. But first of all, I'm going to sort the inventory out, so I'll see you guys in a second. But seeing as though we are on day 4, and I did mention a couple of videos ago that we need to keep this leash, we do need to keep the leash because with it being day 4, we can now head over to the nutshell first, and we'll go and see Khan because that's where Khan is going to be residing for pretty much the rest of this game. Here we are then at the nutshell, and if we head on inside, you'll see Khan at the top there. We're going to speak to him in a second. But if we turn to the right, we're going to see one of the dog heads, and we're going to get a bit more insight into what exactly the soul and a halves and the dog heads are. And they basically say that anyone with a leash, it's sort of like a trophy for them. So that's why this guy's going to be asking us for a leash, sort of like a Medal of Honor type thing. So it's definitely worth doing. As I say, these schmauders will come in very handy, especially if like someone like Lara or Grief or Ruben do get infected. Someone which we really need to keep alive. We'll just chuck a schmauder at them and they become instantly cured. And there we go, there's our another Schmauder added to the inventory. And those kids are happy from when we fixed their little projector. And if you go ahead and speak to Khan, you don't have to speak to Khan, but it's nice to get a bit more insight on what he does and what he's about, a bit more story. So again, it doesn't matter what you say to him. So here we go again. As you can hear that little piano tune in the background, and you can see in the spleen here at this particular house is where I found the next part of that little capella quest of trying to figure out where this music's coming from. So again, you'll head up the stairs through the unlocked door. And this guy's called Stump. So yeah, we'll just see what he's got to say. And these people will tend to say that they just become sort of like mesmerized, and they just walk into a house and start playing that tune on a piano. But yeah, there's 2 down. There's another 2 more to go in regards to that quest. But as I say, if we don't get it done, we don't get it done. We can always head back to it once we finish the game. So next, we're going to head to the map marker Sticky gave us, and he's going to give us the plan. He's basically going to go and say to us, head into the shop, distract the shopkeeper while he goes and steals the toolkit and whatever we need to fix that alembic and start cracking on with this cure. Just don't choose the diamond option, because if you choose an early diamond option, then he doesn't get the kit for you. You do have to buy it. But I will end up buying another one anyway, because there's different stages to fixing that alembic. You can get away with just fixing it once with one toolkit, but the more times you do fix it, then the quicker it is at brewing the tinctures and brewing the cure. And again, time is highly against us. You're just going to want to keep this guy talking for as long as you can. So don't choose any diamond options, just choose whatever you want to choose. And we do come out with some really, really bad jokes in this one, I think. We'll tell him a nice little story of when we inhaled a pine tree cone. But anyway, tell him that. We're going to go and buy a couple of things off him. We'll definitely be buying this cloak. We'll be buying the toolkit and the sewing box as well, because we've got plenty of money. We don't really need the money, so anything like this comes up, we will be buying. And as soon as we've bought them items, we head outside to Sticky, and he's going to tell us that we've done a good job, and he's going to basically he's going to show us his haul in a minute that he's managed to come up with.
I'll learn how to cure this plague myself. I'm a master of many skills.
And if you check this little loot bag by Sticky, everything he's managed to snag is in here. So we got the toolkit, some other little items there as well. That gauze mask is an upgrade on what we had before. I must have picked one up because we've already got one. That's why Irene can stay there, because we'll take this mask pretty much as a backup. So once we've spoken to Sticky, we're going to get interrupted by a messenger again, a young lad, and he's basically going to tell us that Vlad wants to see us. So there's another thing on our to-do list. But before I end this video, there is another trophy that we want to start kicking things off with, and that is the 3 Graces trophy. Now, in order to pop the 3 Graces trophy, we're going to need to be speaking to Anna, Eva, and we also need to speak to Maria Kane. We need to speak to these across the days 4, 5, and 6. We can speak to each one on each of the days.
Sometimes
and once we've
I
spoken
feel like
to each of
I
these
could fly.
3 Graces, as they're so called, we will have popped the trophy. And it was very important that we spoke to Eva as well on the previous day, because if you didn't speak to her, then you'll have locked yourself out of this trophy. But if you didn't, then again, we'll just carry on with the game. You can always head back to a save file before, and you can do any cleanup once we've finished our first playthrough. But anyway, once we finish speaking to Eva, we're going to go and save the game. So as always, thanks so much for watching. All your support is greatly appreciated. And if you did enjoy the video, you found it helpful, then if you could please hit that like button, it really does help the channel out massively. And if you haven't already, then hit that subscribe button for more Pathologic 2 videos and for more trophy hunting content. So once again, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.